Today we're looking at the in-home digital piano, two beginner price points in this category. We're looking at the CLP-725 from Yamaha, the entry into the Clavinova line, the very storied Clavinova line. And we're looking at the CN201 from Kawai, their entry into their in-home digitals. These are above the YDP, the KDP lines from these two manufacturers. And these instruments have a lot of great features. They sound incredible. They have some of the best samples on them. We're going to listen to both of them and talk about why these are great stripped down instruments for getting the job done and replacing an acoustic instrument.
Hi, this is Ted with Alamo Music Center in downtown San Antonio, Texas.
I'm Patrick Marr. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channels, check out our other videos, sign up for notifications, like our videos, leave us comments. We appreciate the support. We love to interact with you. Well, these two instruments are very exciting. I would say, we'll get to them, but we brought a piano fact because we like to start every video with a piano fact. It kind of adds some spice to an otherwise boring product representation, right? No. But we are looking at two fantastic instruments. The piano fact today, though, is, Ted?
Actually, it's 1 and 2 from the same.
1A, 1B.
1A and 1B. And I guess the question is, do you know who's responsible for the shape of a grand piano?
It wasn't just like on a chalkboard, someone just drew it.
Remember some of the first ones were boxy like harpsichords.
They were straight strung.
Straight strung, but they still had that tilt for how the harp would fit in there. And it has a lot to do with that cast iron frame that's in every grand piano now.
The heaviest part of every piano.
The heaviest part of every piano. And it's pretty much the same company that gave us the shape of the grand piano, which is, that nice bow curve, the shape, and the plate.
So who was it?
Jonas Chickering.
Chickering pianos. Okay.
And I think it was in
I think it was the 40s?
40s or 36 or somewhere around in there. Prior to that, they used a lot of these steel rods. The first guy to use cast iron as a plate for a piano was incidentally named after the road that our other store is on. It's not the same last name, but not the same family. The guy's name, I think, was Adolphus Babcock.
Yeah, and he came up with the cast iron frame.
The cast iron frame.
And that was
the piano
in the 1820s. The 1840s is when he worked with Chickering. They worked together to make the modern shape of it. And the Chickering was the first.
And then everyone else took that shape, that bow shape of the grand piano, and the plates from there on.
And so we were talking about two products today that
emulate that instrument.
That would emulate, instead of having to get all that steel and wood and get it there in your apartment.
And all the labor with hand tools back then.
We're looking at replacements for those. And I think it's interesting to look at these two instruments as spinet replacements.
They really are.
Because whether you buy a very nice spinet piano or maybe an older console, we see this a lot. People get the $500, $800, $1,000 one in the neighborhood, in the community, at the old church, from an old music teacher, and it works for a little bit, or maybe it doesn't ever work at all. But it's somewhere between never working at all and breaking very quickly.
Right.
And usually the first step that we see is they come in looking for a digital piano because they've had enough of the acoustic world. They've seen all the bad side of acoustic, and they never got to really experience a nicer new acoustic. So they're like, I'm done with trying to piano tune it. I'm done with trying to, hear everything out of tune. And so they sometimes zero focus on a digital piano that's going to do them well. And this price point, we're looking today at about $19.99 to about $21.99 in these two models that we're looking at from two very well-respected, well-represented piano brands.
These are both competitive products,
and so we are looking today at the CLP-725 from Yamaha and the CN201 from Kawai. And so tell me about the Clavinova. Tell me about why would somebody look at the Clavinova line, what it's been, and why the 725 what kind of product it represents, and then what does the rest of the line represent, the CLP line?
Well, the 725 is the one model that is actually it's a glorified YDP, and it's the one that is referred to as what is it? So there's actually a model that's actually below that, that's not in a different line, that is a Clavinova killer at the 725.
Oh, you're talking about the YDP 185 or whatever?
Actually, I was talking about the DGX 670.
Okay.
Because you compare that with a stand, compared to the 725, and you're getting a better sounding playing instrument, and that's just how many sounds you get with a 725, like 11
10.
or 12 sounds, something like that. Yeah, and they're not the highest quality of sounds. They may be better sounding in the headphone, but out of the little bit of amp and speaker that you get, there's just not a whole lot there, and most people are kind of let down with that when they play it.
Well, they say that the new action on the Grand Touch S is the same that you get on the 735 and the 745, so it does have the same response as those models, but
it's small and boxy sounding. It really is, and it's hard compared to anything else. I mean, even that bigger YDP model sounds better than that.
No, when you move up to the CLP-725 and the YDP 185,
you're starting to get more of what I think is a Clavinova product.
Okay, a bigger box with a bigger
I mean, this little thing trying to pass it off in the Clavinova line is like me trying to say that a Ford Pinto comes from the marquee manufacturer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's really a scaled down kind of thing.
Well, and it's interesting because it does come in at that $19.99 price point, which some of portable pianos, portable keyboards can get in that price range and be really nice instruments with wood actions, and so you are paying. What are you paying? What are you getting in return? So you get the CFX sample, you get the Bosendorfer sample, you get the binaural sample of the CFX. I believe it's the previous generation CFX sample.
It is, but neither one of them really sound like that sample. The CFX doesn't sound like CFX.
Well, it's the ones that was used on the
CF3?
Well, no, it was the one that was on the 600 and 500 series.
And the Bosendorfer doesn't really sound like the Bosendorfer either. These models are really, it's a great piano sample, but it's not, to me, it just doesn't check off the boxes for Clavinova.
And
a Clavinova has to be a really attractive to a player kind of want a piano.
And which is interesting because what Kawai does is they have their CN line for like an intermediate product between so their KDP line, the Kawai digital pianos, the 120 and the 75 is kind of the YDP, the lower end YDPs, and the YDP goes all the way up to over $2,000, and then the Clavinova line starts. And so they got the YDP and the Clavinova on Yamaha. Kawai's got
the KDP.
It's got a CN series here, like right in the middle, and then the CA series. And so there's overlap in those, but their CA series really stands apart because it does a wood action throughout the whole thing.
Right.
The CN series is like their most upgraded. It's the responsive hammer 3 action, which has a lot of features of like the very high-end models that have on the CA series that have counterweights and graded balance and let-off simulation. They put that on their digital one, so they have like an upgraded.
They have a really good action on a really good sample and a decent box.
And so that is even the one I believe that they use on some Nord products, the responsive hammer 3, because it has the counterweights. It's trying to be a real piano, and counterweights don't even show up on Yamaha's lineup until you get up in the higher levels of the CLP 775 and 785. It doesn't show up in Kawai's line until you get to the top two, the 701 and the 901. So you really are getting something unique from Kawai in the CN series. Plastic keys, but responsive hammer 3 is highly sought after. And this 201 has replaced the 29, its predecessor. And then there's a 301, which we're not really talking about here today, but that one goes all the way up almost to $3,000, where the 201 is $2,199. So it's an interesting price range because that's the only two models in the line. And then the CA series starts off, around $2,899 and goes up. So there's a little bit of overlap. But But you're getting the you're getting the Shigeru Kawai, the SKEX rendering,
in that thing.
And so you're getting a great sample. It has the same speaker display as the CLP-725, so they're both 2x20 watts. So not a ton of oomph in the boxes, but how each one responds to it is a little different.
Should listen to them.
Yeah, let's take a listen to both these instruments and listen to it. We'll talk about the action coming back and talk about a couple more features. Not a ton of sounds on either of these. You're looking at like 19 in the Kawai and about 10 or 11 in the Yamaha. The feel is going to be the biggest difference between these. Coming out of the speakers, it's just kind of a preference of which piano rendering you like, which one kind of resonates with you. So let's take a listen.
Patrick, what do you think comparing these sounds and comparing the prices and comparing the way that they play?
I mean, to me, I never realized that Kawai was trying to make a statement with this action, the responsive Hammer 3. Like, obviously, they're trying to make a great action, but they're really trying to build it as the best plastic key action out there, which is an interesting thing, that because I don't think anyone else does that. They switch to wood at some point,
right?
Or they switch to trying to emulate a Grant. And they're like, no, what if we try to build the best plastic key and they have the action that swings underneath it and the counterweights?
It really works. I mean, within their price ranges, every single Kawai piano stacked up with their competitors is going to play better and sound better. And in this particular model, I think there's a couple $100 price difference where the Kawai costs more than the Yamaha. It's well worth it because the sound card alone gives that demonstration. I think the electric pianos and the pianos sound better on the Kawai.
Yeah, and they give you their SKEX sound. You know, at this point, those top level samples have found their way down to this price point, the $2,000 price point. Both come with benches, with the stands, ready to go right out of the box. So you know,
it's a great beginner's piano,
and
it absolutely is, regardless of age. It's a great beginner's piano.
It's
either one of these. If you had a choice, mine would be the Kawai, but everyone's entitled to their own. But either one is a great beginner's piano. It's just that for the price, the Kawai makes it a little bit more exciting and fun to have.
And talking to that, you know, the Kawai has Bluetooth audio and MIDI, which the Yamaha doesn't.
Right.
So you're able to connect your phone and play music out of it like a speaker box, which is fun. But yeah, both just really great products. If you've owned a CN series from Kawai, please leave your comments about the action. I know that's one of the reasons people gravitate towards that instrument. It's also on like their little digital piano that they make.
They really focus a lot of attention on trying to
DG30.
emulate that action on their instruments.
And then if you've owned a Yamaha of their 725 or 625 or 525 before it, that one has always sold less than the next model up, which is an interesting thing. I know you're getting passionate about it, but yeah, the 735 has outsold at least 4-1, maybe 5-1, the 725 for us. Same with the 600, 635 or 625 when it was those. The 25 just doesn't.
It doesn't have enough.
It doesn't line up all the way, and it does sell. It's a great product. It gets you a Clavinova. You know, from the spec sheet, it does read nice. It's got the same action as the next one. It just doesn't. It doesn't feel like it's all the way there. So please leave your comments if you agree with us. If you disagree, we'd love to hear it. Maybe we left something out that we're missing, but we'd love to hear comments and we'd love to discuss about it. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next time.